Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well and I hope that you're having an incredible day. I'm here to do an intuitive card reading to see what messages, guidance, and insights the universe wants to share with us at this time, especially in regards to, using our discernment, deciding things for ourselves, doing our own research, asking questions, not blindly accepting the answers that people tell us because yes, everyone has good and bad in them, but that doesn't mean that they're always going to be acting with pure intentions. So, just listening to your instincts, your intuition, using your intellect and your wit just to keep yourself, safe and, not getting blindsided by people because that's happened to me plenty of times. But let's take a look at the cards and see what the universe wants us to know. Okay, first card we have is Angelite. Support is all around you. And this can come in all sorts of shapes and sizes and forms. It could be in terms of universal divine support. It could be in terms of supportive people, even people that you wouldn't necessarily think are in your corner or would, speak up for you. Like, you can be surprised. But the universe wants you to know that support is all around you. So don't, fall for the trap of gaslighting, invalidation, deception, manipulation, coercion, all of that. Because there are those types out there who very much do so. My family, they do it a lot, and I don't even know if they recognize it or not. And then had plenty of experience with other groups, whether it be fake friends, toxic bosses and coworkers, like narcissists, like it can be anywhere. It's a people thing. Like, it's not particular to any one group, any one age, any one, gender. Like, it can happen from any person, because it's happened to me with both males and females, young and old, different, ethnicities, all this thing. So they will try to get you to buy into the fear, the paranoia, false evidence appearing real, all of that. They'll try to get you into those lower frequencies so you are not acting from your highest, most grounded, collected self. Because that happened with me a lot with a narcissist. Oh boy, he was a piece of work. He would come off in the beginning. It's someone who's very supportive and all that. Yeah, the manipulation, deception, all that started worming its way in there big time. And then when I decided to, I was very upfront and had clear communication, having those strong, healthy boundaries with him. And I was like, hey, if you can't give me space to process what I'm going through right now, if you're to keep trying to push and force communication right now, I'm going to have to block you. And if I block you, I might not ever unblock you, And so what did he do? He started immediately trying to force conversations, like, okay, I had to block you. Then he starts doing this whole smear campaign and trying to get me to buy into the fear and, the paranoia and everyone is out to get me. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. He started going on about how he was going to take me to court because I was doing defamation, even though I wasn't saying anything about him. And if I was technically speaking about him, I was speaking generally about PSAs about narcissism, not mentioning names, not mentioning specifics other than I escaped from a narcissist. So it's yeah, I don't know. They're gonna try. They're gonna try to get you to buy into the fear, but the universe wants you to know that you are supported. Even though most of the group that he ended up basically being, I think it was Dr. Ramani who was saying that the narcissist gets the quote-unquote flying monkeys. Yeah, he ended up enlisting a lot of those, but there were a couple good people in that group who actually stuck by me and had the eyes to see and the ears to hear, and they're whoa, this doesn't make any sense. No. And they were actually supportive of me and had my back. So even in really dark, twisted, painful times like that, you will have support. You will. And so the universe doesn't want you to lose hope, to think that you're all on your own, because you're never all on your own. Yeah, labradorite, see the magic. This is one of my favorite crystals, actually, for real. I have a labradorite pendant on right now. I just love it. It does feel very magical. But like with what was going on with the narcissist in that toxic group, it can be really disheartening, and especially if it happens time and time again. It's been happening to me all throughout my life, and it's really sad and disheartening because you'll be like, well, I'm giving everyone the benefit of the doubt, I'm giving them grace, I'm being forgiving, I'm being peaceful and loving and kind and respectful, and yet everyone, it feels like anyway, everyone is like spitting in my face, throwing mud, and just like stomping all over me, like why? And you could feel like the world is just a very cruel, disconnected, heartless place. And there are those people out there, I won't deny it. Been there, done that, witnessed so much. But the universe wants us to see the magic. It wants us to recognize that there are good people out there, that, you know, there is warmth and love and connection and respect and peace out there, that you can have joy, you can have fun. It doesn't have to be so, you know, I guess survival and like despair and misery. Like, honestly, that toxic group with the narcissist really wanted me to buy into the despair, buy into the misery, to basically hate myself, to doubt myself and all that. But the universe wants you to see the magic, because you don't have to subscribe to their narratives. You don't have to play their games. You can, you know, go and do your own thing. And I've been having a lot of fun with making the coloring sheets as of late. I did it a lot when I was working in the schools, just because the kids I would work with would ask for them. And it's not like I was obligated to. It's not like it was a requirement of my job. I did it out of the goodness of my heart. And like they just kept asking, and so I just kept making them for them. So I've been reconnecting with stuff like that. But you're meant to enjoy life. Not that everything's going to go smoothly. Not that you're going to enjoy everything and it's going to be to your preference. But overall, you're meant to enjoy life. You're meant to have peace and happiness and love and just respect from other people. Like they're not being, you know, treating you like some kind of tool or garbage. But if we start getting into those narratives and believing them and the limiting beliefs, we're not going to be able to see the magic. And this is one of my favorite quotes from Uncle Ira. I know I've mentioned it in a number of these videos. If you look for the light, you can often find it, but if you look for the dark, it's all you'll ever see. If you are looking for the magic, if you're having the eyes to see and the ears to hear, you'll find it. But if you are, you know, looking for the opposite, looking for the doom and gloom, looking for the misery, the suffering, all that, because you've experienced a lot, I'm there with you. Like, it feels like I have been singled out most of my life. Like, people gang up on me, and I'm just like, dude, I'm just here, and I want to be peaceful and kind and loving. Like, is it really that hard? But yeah, like, when I would subscribe to those and get into those limiting thoughts and those broken record loops of thoughts where it's just like really, really depressing and disheartening, it makes you feel like it's all pointless and that nothing good will ever happen and everyone's out to get you. And like, I've been there. Like, I've cried myself to sleep plenty of times. Like, it's been rough, but there is good out there. Like, you know, connecting with pets, like the pets that we've had over the years, like they've been a saving grace for this house. Like, I don't know if I would have made it without them. And then I've had my best friend since 6th grade. She is a godsend. And like, just little things, like it's not always sunshine and roses and rainbows and puppies and all that, but if you look for those things, you can often find them. So see the magic, because it is out there. It is. It's not always easy to find, but you will find it. Yeah, Malachite, it's time to transform. It's time to let go of the old ways. It's time to stop, you know, letting people treat you that way with disrespect. You know, like for instance with my family, me asking questions or like trying to have a conversation or just pointing things out, even if it's the most gentle, non-threatening, peaceful, like respectful way, like they'll lash out at me. And they'll start accusing me of, you know, ruining things and saying that things can't happen. I'm like, whoa, like, I was just asking questions, all that. Like, why are we going to extremes? And it's time to say goodbye to that stuff like that, which is why I feel like overall energies that have been coming in is to release, let go, purge of all the things that no longer serve, all the things that could be harming you or holding you back, getting in your way, tripping you up. And sometimes that's hard because it could be people that are in your life for a long, long time, or it could be habits that you've been doing, since you were little, and it could have been, coping mechanisms and survival tactics because you were a child and you didn't have the control. Adults have all the power, and you're just trying to, survive it all, because if you were like me with all my family, like, they're intense, these people. Very argumentative, very drama, conflict, chaos, screaming, aggression, like all that. But it's time to transform. We don't have to stay in that. We can turn the page and write a new chapter. And sometimes all it takes is asking the right question with the right person, or just asking for help. Because I know if you're like me, you basically got it like beaten down into you, and you've been conditioned to think that you're a burden. I've been working on that. Did not help with all the things that were happening with that toxic group of the narcissist. That was trying to reinforce things that happened with my family and in schools and in jobs. Like, it's a hot mess. I have encountered a lot of toxic people in my life. I'll just leave it at that. But it's just like, it gets you to think like you can't ask for things. You can't expect things or like want things because you're asking too much, you're taking up too much space, you're causing too much of a disruption for speaking up. You need to stay silent, and we're transforming that. We are allowed to ask questions. We are allowed to take up space. We are allowed to have different opinions, and we're allowed to voice them. We are allowed to pursue what lights us up inside. We're allowed to call people out and hold them accountable and say, no, that's not okay. You don't get to treat me like dirt, to disrespect me, to be cruel and like gaslight me and manipulate me and coerce me and all these things. You don't get to do that. That's not okay. And a lot of the energies coming in right now is about accountability and integrity and strength of character, and people aren't letting things fly anymore. It's like, you don't get to pull that anymore. And the people who were notorious for doing stuff like that are blowing up big time because they're used to getting away with it. And they're like, no, this isn't how it works. I've done this time and time again. I'm allowed to get off. I'm allowed to not be held accountable. I'm allowed to not, face consequences because that's just how it works. The rules don't apply to me. It's like people are like, no, they apply to everybody. We're not having this anymore. And so it's a big transformation time. Big time. Okay, so we have what do you need to release, waning moon, and that's the big thing. That's something that keeps coming up. It feels like that the universe is asking us, hey, it's time to let go. It's time to release. It's time to purge. It's time to declutter. Don't keep hanging on to things. It can be easier said than done, especially if you have sentimental attachment, but you can outgrow things. Like, it was hard with everything that went down with the toxic group and the narcissist, but like I feel like the universe has been like building me up to that, because a little less than 2 years ago, my mom's two sisters blew up on me and were saying all these horrible accusations and being so vicious and nasty, going about how I didn't give an F about my grandma, I was just an effing vulture, like all these things. And I'm like, all I did was show up to support my mom. I haven't done anything. Like, what? And like, they just like were going off on everybody, and they acted like nothing happened. And it's just like there's been no apologies or anything. So it's just like my siblings were going on about how they're dead to them, that they're horrible, they're monsters. I'm like, okay, I don't see them as monsters. I feel like they're very much in their human emotions, and they handled it horribly. They were caught up in the heat of the moment, and they lashed out because they were hurting. And when you do that, you can't take it back. But the least you could do would be to apologize and try to make amends, but that hasn't happened. And so me personally, I'm just detached from them. I haven't had anything to do with them. It's not like I hate them or I'm, bitter and resentful and like I want to see them suffer. I don't. But it's just like you don't get to act like everything's normal. What you did was very disrespectful, very uncalled for, and very hurtful. And it's just like, I feel for you because you lost your mom and you were probably super emotional. And like, I get that. But that doesn't excuse what you did. And so that started that. And then last year there was the toxic group and the narcissist, which was like what happened with my aunt again. And it's just like all these people I thought I could trust, so just like backstab and slander. And then it happened again at the beginning of this year with a long-term friend, and a lot of like backhanded apologies with that one. Although, because you know how the backhanded compliments aren't really compliments. Yeah, that's what the apologies were like. And it's been going on 3 months since I last heard from them. And they tried to make it out like they were going to work on things and they haven't. It's just like, look, I don't hold resentment or anger or vengeance or anything like that towards any of you. But it's not okay. You don't get to act like nothing happened. You did me dirty and none of you actually apologized. All of you painted me out to be the villain, a monster, this horrible person. And then you try to come back and like nothing happened. It's like, no. So it's like stuff like that. And also just like habits and environments and things like that. Like the universe is saying, hey, what do we need to let go of because it's not serving us? Like these people, I've realized how heavy and draining it's been to interact with them. Not in a mean way, not in a way that I'm like, oh, I'm better than, but it's just like they're not doing the inner work. They're projecting onto everybody else. They're lashing out, pointing fingers, and they don't want to take accountability. So it's like, I don't have the time and the energy and the effort to give to those kinds of people. It's sorry, not sorry. Like, I need to fill up my cup. I have so much I'm working on. I'm doing my best to not do that to other people. It'd be nice to have people around me who are working towards the same things and we're in that same kind of energy. And instead of all these people who are just lashing out and doing manipulation and gaslighting and invalidation and deception, like all these things, like we're not doing that anymore. Yeah, it's a big release for the collective right now. Getting so fed up. Balance, spirituality, and practicality, full moons and Pisces. Yeah, because I know with a lot of people who start going down the spiritual path and, trying to, be loving and, coming from an energy of peace, like a lot of people get like too much in the clouds, not in a mean way, but like they don't really do action anymore a lot of times, especially when you're starting off. I know that one person I knew who started that, like, was just meditating all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like they weren't able to really function in the real world because we do live in the 3D realm of duality, of contrast, of things like bills. And that's not to say there's no place for meditation. This is why the universe is sending this card of balancing spirituality and practicality. But if all you're doing is meditating and you have no money coming in and like you're neglecting like everything else in your life because you're like, no, I'm spiritual now, it's not gonna go well. Because it's just like, okay, how are you paying your bills? Yes, the universe can send help. Yes, the universe can send blessings and help you get things covered. But it also wants you to take action. It doesn't want you to just be in this laissez-faire, la 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 la, everything is peace and oneness. Because while that's true, we also live in the 3D realm and we need to take action. This is why there's the emphasis on balance. It's the balance between the masculine and the feminine energies, because the masculine is a lot more action-doing energy versus the feminine energy, which is more the receptive, the meditation, the intuition, being a receiver, so we gotta balance it because we don't live in a reality right now where we can just meditate all the time, because our reality is still very much 3D. And so we gotta have that balance. Balance is key. Yeah. Have faith in your dreams, waxing crescent moon. And that's part of the also, knowing that the support is around you, transformation, seeing the magic, because a lot of people will try to tell you that what you're doing won't work. Like my family is notorious for saying, oh, you need to do a 9 to 5 and you have to do these jobs you don't like because that's just the way life is. Life sucks. You got to suck it up and deal with it. It's just how it is. You're going to be miserable, but you got to deal with it. Be an adult. Don't want it more. Just suck it up. And it's like, to a certain extent, yeah, there are going to be things that you do that you don't enjoy. That is kind of life. You got to be responsible. You got to be a decent human and, hold yourself to a place of integrity and accountability to honor your commitments, to say what you mean to me, what you say, to follow through and honor your word. But that doesn't mean you have to live a life full of misery. We're just going through the motions on autopilot and just strive, you're wanting to do more, but you're just struggling to survive and exist. And it's there's more than that. There's more than that. That's why the energy is coming in about seeing the magic and transforming and releasing and balance, because yes, be practical. Acknowledge that you might need to be in a job that is not your favor right now to have some financial means so that you can go off on your own and do what you really love, to have that little security net. Because it's great to be spiritual. Yes, it's great to follow your heart, to follow your soul, to follow your dreams. But I also want to be practical about it because it can also come and burn you, But don't lose faith in your dreams. It's there inside of you for a reason. Yeah, a new start is coming, new moon. It's very much we're turning the page on the old, releasing what no longer serves, what's holding us back, what's harming us, and moving to a fresh new chapter. One of prosperity, one of peace, one of love, one of respect, one of success, one of magic, one of transformation, one of dreams, one of integrity and accountability, one of honesty. So many people will lie. And it's just okay, with certain things, I get that you don't want to reveal the full truth. If you're throwing a surprise party for someone, you don't want to reveal the surprise because that takes away from the surprise party. But at the same time, you shouldn't go out and lie to people. That just feels icky to me. And so, be as forthcoming as you can, but also, know that's balance. Know where it's okay, that's too much to share. Because sometimes people would be oh, I'm just being honest. I'm just being, truthful and this, that, and the other. I'm just being real. And it's they're saying all these hurtful things just to be hurtful to other people. Because you know the type. But we're having a new start. So the old ways aren't going to serve people anymore. It's time for the new. It's very much a new start is coming. And we're releasing all that old. And we're transforming. And the magic's coming in. And the support is coming in. Yeah. And the beetle adaptation. It's very much we're adapting to the new times. And it's going to be this weird kind of turbulent transition period where the new hasn't quite set in. So the old way doesn't quite work, but the new ways don't quite work yet. And so we'll have to, be adaptable and flexible and open as we navigate these times, because the old realm, the old ways, is crumbling. And so that's not going to work anymore. But it takes time for the new to be built. It takes time for that new foundation, those new ways to be built. So we're going to need to be adaptable right now. And it's going to be easier said than done some days. It really is. Yeah, the Wolverine tenacity. We're going to need to have tenacity, resilience, endurance, determination, commitment to ourselves. We need to keep showing up for ourselves, to keep filling up our cups, to keep being honest and real and authentic, to have integrity and accountability, because we will have success. We will be able to thrive. We will be able to manifest our dreams into reality. But it might take time. The seeds are being planted. When you plant seeds, you can't reap the fruits of those seeds right away. It takes time for them to grow, to start, budding, to start developing the fruit, and then it takes a while for it to ripen. If you pick it too soon, you're not going to have the quality you want. So we got to give it time. We got to stay the course. We got to keep moving forward, even though sometimes it's going to be really, really hard. It's going to be so challenging. Like, been there, done that. I'm there with you guys. But yeah, the universe wants us to focus on peace, the dove. And the universe really wants us to know that happiness and peace of mind are inside jobs. It's tricky because you will look around at all the chaos and the turbulence and the conflict and the drama in the external world and you'd be like, oh my gosh, how can we stay sane? But it's all about what we choose to focus on, because we don't have to let the external dictate the state of our internal. We can choose to focus on peace. We can choose to focus on joy. Yes, be aware of everything that's going on. Yes, don't let people get away with things because they're doing it in the dark and all, like, hush, hush, this isn't happening. You see nothing. It's like, and it's also like, the truth always comes to light. People can try to be hidden, but it's like, the narcissist very much revealed himself. All these people are now seeing his true colors, and he thinks he's getting away with things, but all these people are just like, what the heck? And they're coming to me and like what the heck is going on? I was like, oh yeah, that's the thing. And they're like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's a thing. And they're like, man, I didn't know. And I'm like, neither did I, but truth comes out. And so it's sort of like these people, if there's a light or a lamp and they're like throwing a blanket over it, they think that it's hidden. And it's just like, you may have dimmed the light, but it's still there, and eventually people are going to notice. It can't stay hidden forever. It's going to come to light. The truth always does. So the universe is asking us to make peace with what is. Yeah, it's not always going to be what we want. It's not always going to be to our preference. Yeah, things are going to be messy right now. There's going to be turbulence. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be conflict. It is what it is. We're still very much in that period of transition, in that period of rebuilding, that period of, transformation. But we can choose to focus on peace. We can choose to fill up our own cup. We can choose what we focus on, what narratives we subscribe to, what we choose to associate with. The people, places, things. Because we don't owe anyone anything. Like, we don't owe people who, they could say, like, your family, your friends, your boss, whatever, and they, especially with, like, work and stuff, I was in so many jobs where they thought that they were entitled to my time and energy at all hours of the day, and that I was just obligated to do whatever they said, and they just would take advantage of me and treat me like a disposable tool. And it's just like, no, we don't need to keep giving in to them. We don't. And people are coming to that realization, like, you know what? Yeah, I want to have income so I can, survive in this world, have a roof over my head, have food to eat and all that. But I don't need to put up with your nonsense. I don't need to put up with your disrespect and your neglect and your abuse and all that. Like, I don't need to. I'm going to make choices for myself that bring more peace. And so some people might be walking away from jobs. Some people might be walking away from family, like what I did with my mom's sisters. It's like, or that toxic group with a narcissist, or that long-term friend who is just doing that. It's like, I'm not doing it out of a place of hate. I'm not doing it out of a place of bitterness or vengeance and be like, I'll show you. It's like, no, I just care about myself. I'm going to show myself that I love myself. I'm going to fill up my own cup. And it's like, I'm not going to be drained by you guys anymore. I wish you all the best. I hope you can heal and improve and learn and grow and all of that. But I think I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm just going to be sending you love from a distance, Yeah, resilient. May your soul weather the storms. And it feels like there's going to be a lot of them as we're in this transition period. And it could be literal storms like what was going on in Texas. It could be metaphorical storms. It could be storms in terms of news and like reveals and scandals. Like, It can be so much. It can be emotions. Like, we're in it, guys. We're in it, but we have the strength to weather the storms. We have the strength. We have that inner foundation because we're choosing peace, because we're being open and we're being flexible and adaptable, and we're seeing the magic and we're recognizing the support we have, and we're, balancing and we're releasing, and it's like we will make it through this. It's not always going to be easy. Some days are going to be like super challenging, and you just be like wanting to like curl up in a ball and like hide away. You know what? If you have to do that for a little bit, by all means, take care of yourself, fill up your cup, but you will make it through the storms. I promise. I promise. So we have clear. May you see things as they are. A lot of people are having the eyes to see and the ears to hear right now. Things are becoming very clear, and people, I've been hearing so many people getting fed up with certain things, and people not being honest, people being disingenuous, people, claiming transparency, and then just deception, gaslighting, manipulation, all that, and there's like, you can't tell me I'm crazy. You can't tell me that I'm overreacting. It's like, I know what's going on, and you can't manipulate me and gaslight me and coerce me into otherwise. Like, no, holding you accountable. And there are going to be so many people who don't like that because they're used to getting away from things. They're used to getting away with it. Yeah, pause. May moments of calm sustain you. And yeah, that's really what's going to help you be resilient and to get the clarity and to foster the inner peace, to be able to transform and see the magic and recognize what you need to release and what's the best way to balance is by taking time to pause, to breathe, to reflect, to take breaks, to fill up your cup. And it's really, really helpful to have more pause nowadays because in today's modern society, there isn't much pause. It's constant go, 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 bombardment with information, sensory inputs, noises, sights, like all of it. And it makes it really hard to have that peace when you're constantly just having this onslaught of information and sensory input coming your way. Space. May your heart and your scope expand. I'm guessing like your scope of awareness. But yeah, we need to give space for ourselves to process, to breathe, to reflect, to figure out what it is that's most important to us, to, find the balance, to recognize what we need to release, to do what's best for us, because rarely do we give ourselves space. And sometimes, maybe a lot of the time, if it's like what happened with my family, you aren't allowed to have space. You're not allowed to take up space. Your emotions aren't allowed to take up space. Your concerns, your needs, your wants aren't allowed to be spoken and take up space. But that's the thing, you're allowed to take up space. You matter. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to have your needs and your wants addressed and met and valued. So that's another big thing, is to have this space. Forgive, may you let it be. Yeah. Forgiveness is a really big one. And that doesn't mean you give people a free pass, that doesn't mean that they aren't still held accountable for what they did. Like with my aunts, with that toxic group of narcissists, with my former friend, I forgive them just because I don't want to have all that negativity festering in my heart and soul, poisoning me from the inside out. I forgive, one, for them, but most importantly for myself, because I don't want to be in that energy. It's not going to help me. It's like, yes, I get why people would be so upset and they would get bitter and resentful and, have the hatred and all that. I get it. I've been done dirty so many times. I've been betrayed so many times. I've been neglected and abused and taken advantage of and gaslit and all that so many times. But I don't want to be in that energy. I want to be at peace. I want to have love and kindness and joy and fun and lightheartedness and peace in my life. And so we gotta learn to forgive and to let go. Not that, that we open the door for them to come back in and do it all over again, but to forgive and be like, okay, I'm not going to fixate on this anymore. And that can be easier said than done, but it's really, really important. And when we can do that, we can receive. May you know you are worthy of the gift. You are worthy to take up space. You are worthy to be heard. You are worthy to have your needs and wants fulfilled. You are worthy to have love and fun and lightheartedness and joy and peace and success in your life. You are worthy. You are worthy to receive the blessings of the universe. You are worthy of some support and respect and acknowledgement. So it's just like, allow yourself to receive. Allow yourself to receive. Don't feel guilt and shame over it. We have insight. Insight is the fruit of wisdom. Keep a learning attitude. Yeah, a lot of insight is coming in, a lot of clarity. If a lot of people are having the eyes to see and the ears to hear, they're able to see things for what they really are. And they're not falling for things anymore. People can't, have the wool pulled over their eyes. They're like, no. You don't get to deceive me. I see what's going on. And no, you don't get a free pass for that. And it's really going to set us free. It really is. And it's going to help us get all this abundance in. Abundance comes from inner fulfillment and outer effort. And again, that goes back to the balance of spirituality and practicality. Coming in from that inner fulfillment, that inner peace, that inner satisfaction, that inner happiness and joy, that inner spirituality, that inner connection, that meditation, that reflection, that mindfulness, but also the outer effort, that practicality, taking the action steps towards your dreams, choosing who you're going to associate with, what you're going to associate with, where you're going to associate with, what gets your time and energy, what gets your focus, what you're going to subscribe to, how you're going to adapt, how you're going to show up in the world, how you're going to be resilient. Like, it all comes from that balance. It really does. Okay, so we have firecracker, excitement. And this could be excitement in terms of fun, passion, joy, or it could be quote unquote excitement in terms of reveals, things coming to light. Like, I know one person on YouTube, it might be on other media platforms as well, but they're going on about like the endless content from all the things that are going on in terms of politics and whatnot, and the drama and the scandals. There's like endless content. I'm so grateful. And so it's like, yeah, there's a lot of things kind of popping off right now. So there is a variety of excitement. Could come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. But the universe wants you to know, staff, you will be taken care of in difficult times. So know that support is all around you. See the magic. Know that you're going to be okay. Keep having faith in your dreams. A new start is coming. You will be taken care of. You will be provided for. Know you're going to make it through A-okay. It's not always going to be easy. But sunrise, new creative ideas, new ventures, a fresh start. It's very much, we're turning the page to a new chapter. And so all the quote-unquote old rules, they're starting to dissipate, to wither, to disappear. The old is crumbling and the new is starting, and it's the rise of a new dawn, a new era. So know that you're going to be okay. Things might get a little bit shaky, but you're going to be okay, and come from your heart. Come from the heart space. Love, deep affection, and caring, and do that for everything, for yourself most importantly, but everyone you meet. And choose to forgive, choose to come from peace and love and respect and kindness, common decency towards other people. Just because other people do you dirty doesn't mean you have to retaliate with the same. Because, the energy you put out into the world comes back to you. I haven't been, keeping tabs on the narcissists in that toxic group, but people have been coming up to me. It's like, oh my goodness, this happened to them and that. And I'm like, That's unfortunate for them. I don't wish them ill will, but you reap what you sow. And I've been coming from a kind, caring, loving place. I've been coming from a place of peace, from forgiveness, of wanting the best for everybody. And so, like, yeah, even though I still have things to do with, like, in terms of my family, I'm reaping what I've sown, and I've been having a lot more peace. Whereas I look around at other people, like, it seems like everything for them is falling apart, and they're just, like, in so much stress and chaos and turbulence. And my heart goes out to them. But a lot of them, I've noticed from my observations, aren't doing inner work. They're, sweeping things under the rug, sidestepping them, trying to bury them, acting like they're not there. And it's like, it's not going to work that way. Things always come to light. They always come to the surface, no matter how hard you try to shove it down and act like it's not there. It always comes out one way or another. But yeah, because you've been focusing on love, peace, joy, balance, resilience, you're going to be receiving a beautiful box with a gift inside. There's going to be blessings. There's going to be abundance. There's going to be peace and love and clarity. You're going to receive the magic and miracles that the universe has been working behind the scenes on your behalf. So get excited. Keep your, hope alive for your dreams, because they will come to fruition eventually. I don't know the exact timing, that's up with the universe and its divine timing and its master plan, but it's a period of transformation and good things are happening. They are. Even if all this turbulence and chaos and gunk has to come up first, it's just like, in order to be cleansed, you have to get rid of the dirt, the mud, the muck. You gotta cleanse it out. You gotta clean it all out. So that's what's happening right now with the world. I'm sending you so much love. Please have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.